Hello and welcome to another Past the 11 Plus episode brought to you by ExamBuddy. Today we're going to be talking through the non-verbal reasoning topic, odd one out, and showing you an approach to answering these questions that should save you time in the 11 Plus exam. So, what is odd one out? Well, in these questions you'll be shown 4 or 5 images. Your job is to identify a pattern in 4 of those images and select which question doesn't follow the pattern, the odd one out. So answering these questions can seem difficult at first, but hopefully with this technique you should find it a lot easier. You've seen this before in other episodes, especially for non-verbal. It's called snaps. So what does snaps stand for? When you approach any odd one out question, look at shape. So are there different shapes? Look at the shapes between all of the images and try and find one that doesn't match the pattern. For example, if 4 of the images contain triangles and 1 of them contains circles, then you know that's the odd one out. Look at the number. Look at the number of shapes in the image. Is there a difference? If you add up all of the shapes, do 4 of them equal the same number and 1 of them is different? Importantly for odd one out, look at the difference in numbers between internal and external shapes. If you see a large triangle externally in all of the images, and in 4 of the images there are 3 black circles inside the large triangle, but there are 4 in another image, then you know that that's the odd one out. Less common in odd one out questions, but look at angles. Is one shape rotated? Is it at a different angle from the other shapes in the images? This might mean that's the odd one out. Again, similar to angle is position. It's really important with position to look to see if there are different shapes in the corners. Is there a black triangle in the top right corner of 4 of the images, and a black circle in the bottom left corner of 1 of the images? Look to see if the positions of internal and external shapes are different. Are, in 4 of the images, internal shapes placed on the corners of a larger shape, or are they within the shape? These are all things to consider. Next, think about size. Are there different shape sizes? Shading. Very important to look to see if there are different coloured shapes. This can also link in with number. Are there the same number of shapes of each colour? Are they different? Is there a pattern? Think about the colour and shading of internal versus external shapes. Or are the lines or edges of external shapes or large shapes dashed or a different colour? If you think through all of these things methodically, you should be able to answer any odd one out question. So, let's go through an example. For those of you who want to try this at home before we go through the solution, pause your recording now. Okay, so hopefully you've got an answer. So let's work through this. Shape. We can see that all of the images contain black circles and squares as internal shapes. The external shapes are all different. We have a trapezium, a heptagon, pentagon, diamond, and hexagon. So there's no clear pattern here that makes one the odd one out. Now let's look at number. In A, we see 4 black circles. In B, we see 7 black circles. C, there are 3. D, there are 4. And E, there are 6. So there could be a pattern here. Let's keep this in mind. We can't see a clear pattern with the white squares. They vary completely between all of the images and there's no clear pattern. Angle. No one shape appears to be rotated, and no one square is obviously at a different angle. So let's move on to position. Here we can see that there are no obvious differences. In all of the images, there's one large external shape, which contains several smaller internal shapes. The same here applies to size. All of the images have one large external and several small internal shapes. So there's no clear pattern here. Now let's look at shading. So we can see that there are different colours here, and they largely focus on the internal shapes. So we can see that there are black and white shapes in all of the images. Now, here we're going to have to consider shading alongside number. So if we can see, there seems to be a pattern emerging in the black circles. Look at A. That shape is a trapezium. It has 4 sides, and there are 4 black circles. If we look at B, it's a heptagon. It has 7 sides, and it contains 7 black circles. C is a pentagon. So if it follows the rule we've seen so far, we would expect to see there are 5 black circles, but we only see 3. So this looks like it could be the odd one out. But to be systematic, we need to check the other 2 images to make sure that they follow the rule. And we can see that they do. The diamond has 4 sides and contains 4 black circles. The hexagon contains 6 black circles and has 6 sides. So we know that the answer has to be C. The number of black circles are not equal to the number of sides of the external shape. So we hope that this has helped, and that Snaps helps you to answer odd one out questions. If you want access to hundreds more free non-verbal reasoning, verbal and maths questions, sign up at www.exambuddy.co.uk.